Hi guys, Pastor Mark here. Hope you're well as we continue our study of Ephesians, and we are in chapter 4 now, and I'm just going to move on before we get into this kind of almost certain part of chapter 4, and I'm going to read 4 verses tonight, and I'm just going to read one and then I'll read the other 3 at the end. And it says this: "But to each one of us grace was given according to the measure of Christ's gift." Now, the first part that I spoke about last night was that we are united in call. We have but the one call really to glorify God. We have individual gifts, but we have one call. But then as Paul moves on here, even though we have got one call, we have been individually graced with a measure of what Jesus chooses to give us. But each one of us, grace was given according to the measure of Christ's gift. And what I'm going to share here is really astounding, because sometimes I think that we live in such, especially in the church world, but every world, but that's the genre that we're in, where people are always competing and measuring and comparing themselves to others. But each one of us, grace was given according to the measure of Christ's gift. And that gets so misconstrued in church, that I've got this gift, but you've only got a smaller gift. And this is not what it's saying at all. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not equally united in call. We're equally united in call. And I hammered that home yesterday, which is to what? To glorify God. But that also, that we were also given an individual measure of grace as a gift. Now, when we truly understand our own depravity and our own lostness and sinfulness, we will never feel the need to measure that gift to others. And I believe that part of the reason is that we compete and we compare and we measure and we feel more inadequate is because we've got the wrong starting point, which I've talked about so much. Paul is highlighting this in the church in Ephesus, is to stop them start competing and measuring and having a hierarchy. And the church, I believe the modern church is so focused in gift and not the giver, that we have lost the awe and wonder of the grace of that gift that was given. God saw fit, and if you think of it this way, God saw fit and chose you and gifted you with a measure of Christ's gift, a measure of everything Christ done for you. So Christ, who done all for you, gifted you with a measure of that gift, the gift of himself. Why, oh why then would we want Jesus to give us something that he's bestowed upon somebody else? Why then would we want what Jesus has gave to someone else? Why would we want what Jesus has done for someone else when what he done for you was so unique and bespoke, to giving himself, a part of himself to you that you would believe? Your gift is unique. Why compare? Your gift is totally unique. Why compare? The measure of grace God gave to you was totally unique. Jesus so loved you as an individual that he gave you a unique gift of himself to you. A gift that he gave to you as a unique individual person. It was a measure he gave to you individually. Don't you think that's astounding? Why would so many compete? And I would say the reason we compete is because we're like the spoiled child, that we don't want just one toy, we want his toy. And we want everything, and we don't want to share anything because we want it all. And what causes that? The child doesn't understand the price that was paid for the gift. He doesn't understand the price that was paid for that toy. So he wants them all. He doesn't know what was done to receive that toy. And God owes us nothing. But yet sometimes we want not just our own thing, but we want somebody else's thing, because the starting point's wrong. We deserve nothing, yet he counted us righteous. And it tells us in chapter 1, he chose us, he chose you before the very foundation of the earth, and he gave you a portion of faith. You've been handpicked. You have been handpicked by God and given a measure of Jesus for good works. The gift is no gifts he's talking about here. He's not talking about spiritual gifts. He's talking about the gift of grace you've been given. That comes next. And I think it's important you listen to me here, that know that you've not been listening. And about what I'm about to say, and maybe it's something that you've not realised or you still wrestle with. Each of us have been given a measure of Christ and given a measure of faith to then accept that grace. I'll say that again. Each of us have been given a measure of Christ, and then within that, because we know that that's a gift, but we also know that faith's also a gift, that we've been given a measure of faith to receive that what Christ gave us. That's how unique we are. We've been given the exact amount we needed to operate and to serve and uniquely do what God has called us to do. You weren't given less. You weren't given a lesser portion. You were given the exact portion you needed, that God had decided from the foundation of the earth that you needed to serve Him for His purpose. Very unique. So you didn't get more or you didn't get less. You get the exact amount that God wanted to pour into you, that God wanted to grace you with to serve Him. You have not been shortchanged. You know, and that becomes teaching in the church. If you're saved and acting like a victim, or you're acting like, I never get the same blessing, seriously, you need to grow up. You need to get some gratitude, and you need to get out your selfish mindset, because you have been given such a gift of grace that we have no right to go about moaning, wondering why, it's not fair for me, and it's not right, and I've got it harder, and I've got it this. You've been given the measure of faith to perform everything for God, and it's what's going on in you that's stopping it. No, what God's gave you. Did you realise you've been given the exact measure for what you've been created to do? I wrote here. Yes, we need to mature. Yes, we need to grow. Yes, we need to become more sanctified. But you have all of God's measure at this moment to perform His work. Listen, when we bypass what we've been gifted with and the way to pursuing gifting, and this is where the problem starts, especially in the charismatic church, you will abuse it and become self-indulgent, because we pursue spiritual gifts before we understand the gift of grace that we've been given, and we start pursuing something that was never meant to be pursued anyway. No gifts were meant to be pursued. They were already given. And it says from verse 7 to 10, it's talking about the undeserved gift of grace, not the pneumatikos. It's pneumatikos, charisma. It means charisma. It means spiritual gifts. God here, we're not talking about spiritual gifts here. We're talking about the gift of grace. And what happens is the second part, and the word charisma, it's where the word charismatic comes from, and you see how they get this so the wrong way. So they go most of them go straight to verse 11, what's my gift, and they don't even know how much of a wretch they were and what they've been saved from, that they've been given this amazing measure of faith. So what happens is they hardly understand that, and they go straight to verse 11 and going, right, I need to get my spiritual gifts, I need to get my pneumatikos charisma, I need to get my spiritual gifts. That's what it's all about. And it's important to note that these spiritual gifts, which we will start to discuss tomorrow and get into them, do not come before, nor are they something to be pursued either. They are but a call that is given after the grace. And that means that why should we even care about what comes next, when we just go, you know what, whatever you want me to do, whatever you want me to do. I've been so blessed from being dead in the sins and trespasses. What difference does it make what you've called me to do? In fact, it's so amazing, because you have gave me something, God has given us something so unique. We are individual and unique as far as the measure of grace He's gave us in order to perform His works. Why would that not be enough for us? It's totally unique to us. It's a part of God that He's gave us. It's a part of Christ that He's poured out on us. Why do I want what God's poured on to somebody else? Why would I ever want that? It's crazy. And this is where all the crazy stuff happens in church and spiritual gifting, because they don't understand the measure and the gifting of grace we've been given. Paul just closes and says, which I don't have time to get into, but that he talks about Jesus ascending and descending. Basically what he's saying is Jesus has done all the work. He's completed everything, that you can walk in this gift, that you can live with this gift, and we must be grounded in that. And not only that, it's because of His great love and grace that we are just freely saying, whatever you want me to do, God, here I am. a servant. See you tomorrow.